Hi everybody, this is Tandy Gutierrez, and this is your Mat and Kitchen Tip Tuesday. So I used to do Tip Tuesdays a lot, and then sometimes the timing doesn't feel right, and so I didn't. But I feel like they may be reinstated. I used to do Tip Tuesdays in response to things, and so that's really what's happening right now too, is that I would get a lot of comments, a lot of messages, a lot of emails about certain topics, and then I went, oh, it's time for me to do a bigger video about it instead of just answering things one by one. And I think it happens that way because I start posting things or about things really consistently, and then X amount of time into all those posts. Sometimes it's 3 months, sometimes it's 6 months, sometimes it's 12 months, and then all of a sudden everybody wants to talk about a certain thing. Then I start to get more of the repetitive questions, and I go, this is something that's out there, then I need to address it. So lately it's been a lot about meditation, and I totally get it because I've been more consistent about posting mine, and part of that is for me and for my accountability, and two is everything that I do is to share and to inspire and to support. I feel like there's lots of books, there's lots of people out there, right? But we all have our own little communities, and things get to you in a different way, and everybody hears things in a different way. I feel like one of my talents and things that I do really well is that I can break things down so people understand it better, or there's something more manageable about the way I explain things. And so that the big call to action for me was always to get on the mat, right? Teaching and cueing is what I do really well, and I can get people into their bodies and in a way that other people can't. But so lately, that probably the last year, I've been posting more about my meditation, and really consistently since we started travel, because we're traveling so much that sometimes taking pictures of my food is a little kooky in our transitions. And then the mat workouts, I post, what the workouts are no matter what all the time. And so I feel like, oh, you guys get those things that I do. But meditation has been a newer one that I take pictures of. And then now that I've been posting pictures of my kids in their unschooling, that they meditate every morning now. So there's been a lot of those questions. And I feel like the biggest thing that needs to be shared and said, because I think it's one of those shoulds, right? Everybody should get healthy, and when I say that everybody can should all over themselves, but unless you know why you want to do it, unless you're really deeply committed to something, there's no point in doing it. I'm really, totally encouraging of you trying things and exploring life, but oh, I should do this, oh, I should eat kale, I should have a smoothie every morning. Why? What are you aiming to get at? What's the purpose and what's the point to it? If exploration, great, but if it's deeper than that, that's when the goods get really good. So meditation, I think, is one of those things that everybody thinks they should do because we know that it's calming, it relieves stress, it fires portions of your brain that normally don't get used, and we only use this teeny portion of our brain. So meditation makes us smarter, right? Having quiet time is just calming and good. If you take it to the level of really connecting to spirit and a greater energy other than yourself, like wonderful as a point of prayer. It's deeply anchoring and deeply calming, but I think that it, should everyone do it? Yeah, absolutely. Is it always the right time? Are you in the right mind space? No, because everybody's got a different life. But I think the injustice that's been done to everybody should meditate is that we've taken something really beautiful, really grounded and anchored, and something that can really change the quality of your life, and boiled it down to like a bandaid or an aspirin, which I got opinions on those too, right? So Western culture tends to be quick fix. We're medicine, right? We're chemical meds, and aspirins and band-aids are the perfect thing. So we want this quick fix to cover things up or to take the pain away immediately. And so the response that I've just gotten over and over and over lately is that, oh, I wish I could do that, but my brain just won't stop. It's too noisy. I just can't. I've tried. Okay, let's be honest. We are thinking, cognitive, intelligent human beings. Okay? Our brains are meant to work. It is what separates us. And I think there's been a huge disservice done to a meditation practice of thinking that it has to be, or it must be, or that it should be yogi on the mount, and there's complete silence, and that some people are built for it and can clear their heads, and others just aren't. It's an excuse not to try, number one. Number two, it's not a bandaid and it's not an aspirin. It's not going to kick in 15 to 20 minutes and you're going to be calm and clear and centered and it's a done deal. That's not how real things work. Real things take time. Mastery, it only happens because of practice. So things that you really, really want, that are really, really good for you, take practice and repetition and mistake making and, maybe going away from and then coming back to. So there's so much involved in it that I think people use this excuse of, oh, my brain's too busy and it's never quiet and I've tried it and so I'm just not, I can't. That's for somebody else. So whenever those things come up of like those excuses and I can't and that's for somebody else, I think there's just a lot of misconceptions about it. Okay, so I've been meditating off and on since I was 18 years old. I'm 38 now. Okay, and I've had periods of time where it's been a wonderfully consistent practice in my life. I brought it into my kids' lives at other times, off and on. And then there's other times where it fell off the radar and I wasn't really deeply connected to it and I wasn't grounded for it and it wasn't. Time, life, it evolves, right? Okay, I want to be really clear that at no point do I sit down and my brain is totally silent. And I'm sure there may be some argument here and some constructive discourse. But I don't really think that we have to be silent. It's about the practice. It's about showing up. It's about sitting and being. And this whole just be. That's a hard thing to understand too unless you've done it or tried to practice it. Okay, so the point of meditation is to stop, number one, to cultivate awareness. I'm breathing, I'm a body, I'm a physical being in this big, big world, and that there is time to stop. Sometimes you have to create it, but you don't meditate and things just get quiet and calm, and it doesn't just turn your life around like that. In fact, it's very under the radar, it's very quiet, it's very sneaky, and it evolves in this very quiet way. You really must be committed to the practice of it, which is why I always start sharing when I do my 40 days of if I've fallen off the wagon, I commit to 40 days again. Okay, and every once in a while I take a day off but now I don't want to, but that's me. So you can commit to a certain period of time to practice it, and it needs to be a chunk of time, not an itty-bitty thing, because it's not a band-aid and it's not going to kick in 5, 10, 15 minutes, okay? The point of it is to sit with yourself, to be aware, to breathe, take time out, think of something bigger than yourself, think of things other than yourself. Have a moment to pause and breathe and go, what do I really want? Some days it's a nap. Some days it's a coffee. Some days it's a hug with your kids, right? Some days it's, I just want to sit and do nothing. Or I need to connect with my friends and have a good phone call and go have a glass of wine. You need time to process. And our world is doing nothing but getting busier and more layered with phones and texting and videos and being online. And they're beautiful resources, okay? But you can't let them eat up all of your time, or you can't fill all of your time with the junk and the noise and the movement. It's really healthy to be still and to be quiet. Now, quiet doesn't mean silent, and it doesn't mean your brain turns off, okay? So this is the complete thing that now I'm ranting, but that I wanted to do the video on. I don't know that I sit down and ever have a brain that's totally quiet and silent and calm. It is like training a puppy. They wander off the piddle pad and they go potty someplace else. You got to put them back. Or when you're teaching them to sit, right? You keep putting them back in the same spot. That happens a lot with me. I like there's a lot of breathing patterns I like because it keeps me busy in a constructive way. I love to use affirmations because, again, I think that helps just train the brain. I don't know that my brain's going to be totally quiet and silent. I don't know that we should be as humans. We need to be using our brains more instead of turning them off. I think we turn them off, and that's really the problem. When you come to meditation, it's about cultivating where those thoughts are going, putting them in a higher, bigger, better, gooder place. So mantras and affirmations are a beautiful thing to program your brain and your thoughts with in that time of meditation. It's not totally about getting silent. Quiet, yes. Calm, yes. Relieving stress, yes. But silence and being able to turn the brain off, I find those just to be excuses to not try consistently. You really need to do a minimum of 30 days in a row before you can even really form an opinion about how it affects your life. Okay? And how you do that, we're going to do a whole nother Tip Tuesday on that because this one's getting long enough as it is. But I just felt the need to say it because it's come up a lot. Because everybody's like, oh, it's so inspiring. I wish I could do that with my kids. I wish I could do that for myself. You can. Wishes are silly. Okay? They're great because they're wants and they show you what your want is. And they're also a call from your intuition of like, I'd like to be that. Right? You can be. But then we're setting up these boundaries of how it has to happen and what the expectation is. And if I can't do it that way, then I can't do it at all. Think about it in small, teeny, tiny increments. 2, 5, 7 minutes a day is absolutely enough to benefit. But it's got to be consistent. And you need to pick your period of time. And you go, I can't do it for 30 days. Okay, so don't. Do it for 7. Start with 5. Small steps, small goals that are achievable, and then you go, okay, well that didn't feel so long. I did 5 days. Maybe I could tack on 6. Maybe I could tack on 7. It's about crafting a life that you want and being honest about it. And all these things that you wish you could do, that's your gut telling you that's who you want to be and that's what you want to do. But then you're throwing all this other junk on top of it from your ego going, I can't do that because of this. You can do it. There are valid excuses and parameters and guidelines, but there are also ways to work around them. You must be creative. You must take time out and go, actually, that's something I really want. How can I make that work for me? And it doesn't have to look like somebody else's. You can take pieces and advice and support and motivation, make it yours. And just please don't have the expectation that everything is silent in a meditation, because it's not. If nobody's told you that, that's what I'm here to tell you. It's not. There's some brilliant moments of silence, but we're human and our brains are meant to work and function. The beautiful piece of meditation is that you can reprogram it to function more positively, to function more effectively, more calmly, more serenely, but not to shut it off. Because honestly, our problem as a culture, if I'm going to say it, is that we are shutting them off. We're trying to light them up. Light them up. That's what you want to do in your meditation. So this idea of silence, let's not do that anymore. Okay? But let's ignite and empower them and light them up in this beautiful, sparkly way, instead of them just being the fuzzy, grainy, noisy way. Right? Okay. So that was what I needed to say for Tip Tuesday. Today it's getting dark, so I'm going to turn this off and go inside. But you all can leave questions, comments. Please share. Please like these videos, and I have a feeling Tip Tuesdays are coming back. The next one I'll do is kind of how to get started in meditation if you want some advice from me on that. Okay? Thank you.